a new thing. That's a real new thing.
Yes, you. It's time to put that hand to what will move you forward. We're not looking back, and there ain't no stopping us now. What awaits you is right in front. It's something new, and it's just for you. So join me for that new thing, starting now on A New Thing Live.
Hello and welcome to A New Thing Live. My name is Cyndi Galley, and I am the host of this fun show where we believe that God wants to do something new in your life. If you didn't know that today. He wants to do something new in your life just for you, whether it's a new relationship, career, hobby, maybe changing some habits, maybe a new way of thinking. There's always new things that are knocking at the door. And so that's what this show is all about. We love to bring influencers, leaders, but we also just like to talk about real things that are happening in the world. And so tonight we have a beautiful episode lined up for you. We are actually going to be paying tribute to Her Majesty, the late Queen Elizabeth II, and we're going to be talking about her. We have a wonderful guest that we're going to bring. I know you're going to enjoy him so much. But if you've never been on our show before, whether you're watching us on YouTube, whether you're watching us on Facebook, interact with us. We want to know, we want to hear from you. But you might be watching us on smart TV or on Roku, and we're going to ask you all of the above. Do one thing. Would you subscribe? I know you hear this all the time, but I'm going to ask you to subscribe to our channel and to share this show. This really is a wonderful show. We make it just for you. You are not called to do life alone. You do have people in your corner, and A New Thing Live is that safe place for you to come, regardless of your belief, regardless of your background, regardless of where you're at in life. We are here, a safe place for everybody. We're here for everybody, everyone. So the news of all news, and I think many of you already know, but if you haven't heard yet, Her Majesty, the late Queen Elizabeth, did pass this past week, last Thursday. And just watching all of the coverage and all of the different ceremonies that have taken place in response, her kingdom responding to her passing, it's just been a beautiful thing to see all the admiration, the love, the honor, the respect that really she symbolized for all the world. But our hearts and our prayers are not only with her nation and with United Kingdom, but also with her family. But we do have a beautiful episode, and I believe it's going to be a lot of fun with a true aficionado of the Royals. And so don't touch that dial. I think you're going to enjoy everything about this episode as we do honor the Queen of England. Before we go there, though, we're going to talk about just a couple of things. You know, we like to talk about what's going on in the world. And as you know, yesterday was 9/11. And for so many of us, it's a time to reflect about that time, remembering those who lost their lives. So many of us that were around during that time remember where we were at when we either heard the news or were chimed in to the news as it was unfolding, and just so heartbreaking. And so a little bit of a different focus this year, I wanted to highlight my youngest sister, who is a chaplain. She's a co-pastor, but she's also a chaplain of the city of Fitchburg for their police and their fire department. And she was actually asked to give an invocation at a 9/11 firefighters memorial. And so did such a beautiful job. I wanted to share just a little bit of that with you.
Memorializing the victims of 9/11 here in Wisconsin. Grace Hodek has you covered on a new Madison memorial that honors all who have lost their lives serving their country.
A moment of silence was held at Madison Fire Station 14 as crowds raised an American flag to honor those first responders that died heroes.
We understand the risks faced on every fire and EMS call, large or small, and that death or serious injury may be around the next corner. This is one of the tragic truths of our job, and all of us acknowledge that when we choose to become firefighters and paramedics.
Wisconsin firefighters are some of the most resilient and dedicated folks in the state, serving their communities without hesitation and at the risk of personal sacrifice.
To keep that sacrifice top of minds and hearts, the community unveiled a new Firefighters Local 311 memorial on Sunday.
For many, and for me, 9/11 was the first time we saw the strength, bravery, and determination at its most extreme. These are the same qualities that each of you exemplify as well.
Jenin says memorials like this one are a beautiful mix of memory and honor of those who lived and served well.
This memorial forms as an anchor of sure footing, of connection to those who embody the best of our community. And from this place, we can continue to serve with optimism as we together, under their example, shape the community's future.
In Madison, Grace Hodek, 27 News.
So that was my baby sister, who's clearly not a baby, doing what she does so well, one of the many things she does well in Madison, Wisconsin. Now, this Saturday, I'm excited to announce, is Museum Day. We love the museums here. Any reason to go somewhere fun and historical is always a lot of fun for us right here at A New Thing Live. So if you, like me, like museums, then you've gone to probably a handful, even during the pandemic. I just recently actually went to a beautiful exhibit, not a museum, but an exhibit of Princess Diana just this year, actually. And then more recently had the opportunity of heading to the Monet Experience with some friends in Southern California, as well as visiting the roots of my denomination right here in Los Angeles at Sister Amy Semple McPherson's parsonage. If you like going to museums, maybe you've thought about going to museums, take an opportunity to go visit a museum this Saturday. There will be many museums that are free. Not all, but take a look, maybe do a little bit of research to see which ones are going to be free. We will have information on our website for you that will kind of help to steer you in the right direction. Personally, I love going to museums, exhibits, learning about history. Gosh, when I was younger, I really wish I would have paid more attention. I really do, to history, but I definitely love it now. So do visit our websites to find out which museums are going to be free admission. But even if not, what a beautiful day to head on over to the museum on Museum Day this Saturday. Okay, so now the late Queen of England, Queen Elizabeth. It's the end of an era. We had the late Queen Elizabeth serving as the monarch, the head of the UK for over 70 years, or just over 70 years. In fact, they just celebrated her platinum jubilee was just this year. And now there is a new monarch. It is King Charles III. And so, do want to talk about that, but I'm so excited that we have an opportunity. As many of you know, I love the Royals. I love England so much. In fact, if there was anywhere that I could live outside of the US, it would be England. I always thought it would be Paris because of my love for the Eiffel Tower, but it wasn't until I went to England that I thought, oh my goodness, I would love to live here. And so in my recent trip, my only trip to England, I actually reached out to tonight's guest to get the 411 on where should I go? What should I do? And he was like, oh, girl, if you're going to have tea, it needs to be at the Ritz. I mean, he gave me the 411 on all of the things that I needed to do in my short little bit of time there in England. A true Royals aficionado. I know he's got all kinds of knowledge about the Royals, and he joins us today right here from Southern California. So would you please help me welcome Cheyne Jackson? And thank you so much, Cheyne, for being with us here today. Where are you at, brother?
Hi, Cyndi. It's so good to be with you. How are you today?
I'm wonderful. It's so good to have you. Thank you for joining.
It's a privilege.
Part of A New Thing Live. You know, I've been wanting to have you on here for quite some time because you really fit like different episodes and different themes. It's like, oh, Cheyne could do that. Cheyne could do that.
So fun.
But in light of everything that's been going on, in the UK with the passing of Queen Elizabeth, as I was thinking of our Queens and Kings episode, like Cheyne Jackson just rose to the top.
I'm very honored.
Oh, well, so good to have you on here. So how are you doing? I do want to talk a lot about the Royals, but how are you? How is your beautiful family doing?
My family's wonderful. We, at the beginning of this year, 2022, we relocated back to Southern California from our previous home there in Michigan. And as beautiful as Michigan is, and you can see in that picture, it was wonderful. We're both from this area, as you know, and we're so grateful to be back and be plugged into our church and just home. It just feels like home.
Well, we're so glad you home, brother. I mean,
Yes.
we did miss you, and I know that
Yeah.
you have some loved ones. We
Yes.
share mutual loved ones
Yes,
out
we
in that
do.
Michigan area, and I did happen
Yes, we
to
do.
mention my baby sister.
Yeah.
She's not a baby, but it's definitely good to have you all back here.
It's
How has
wonderful
that
to be
been for
home.
you coming back, being back in California, just with everything? Because when you left, the pandemic hadn't happened, and so you come back to California now, and we're in the middle of a pandemic.
Well, it's crazy. Life changed so much. We left. It was my wife Rachel and I. We were traveling, as you know, a ton, and all of a sudden, we are back, and we have a 2-year-old, and we've been through all of this, and now are so excited to be home. But I've really enjoyed being back in California until the last 10 days when it has been so hot. We have had just crazy weather these last couple of days, so it has been a journey with this heat. I called a friend and I was like, so you were thinking about moving to Florida. The last 72 hours in California has felt like we were living in Florida. I mean, 90 something degrees with humidity and rain. And I was like, no, Lord, this is not what you brought me back for. I'm waiting for that cool SoCal weather that we pay those high home prices for.
Yeah, yes, I know that's right. Well, I'm still renting, but yes, for all them homeowners, all y'all's, I know it's really kind of costly out here.
It hits the rent too, girl. I'm sure it's
yes,
real.
yeah, it does. And it's for the humidity. It's like, oh Lord, my hair. You know how the black girl in the pool got to keep the moisture off of the hairs, keep it off of the strands.
Yes. Yes, you need that good retained heat.
Yeah. Yes. Well, I'm so again just so honored to have you on here.
It's a pleasure
You and
to
I
be
have
here.
talked a lot at length about the Royals, about the royal family. In fact, when I did go to London, you were the one that said, "Oh, you need to hit the Ritz." You were telling me all the places I need to go. And so, what are your feelings just about the end of an era with the passing of the Queen, and what that's going to look like now for England and for all of the other countries that she represented as well?
To answer that first question, I'm very sad. My wife and I found out together. We watched the coverage. It's that duality of, we thought she would live forever, and yet we knew she wouldn't, and the sadness that came from just the finality of it. And of course, we know she was a tremendous believer. She has the auspicious title of being the person who has shared the gospel with more people than anyone. She would share the gospel faithfully every year on December 25th on her Christmas address, which of course went out to the United Kingdom, but to all the realms of the Commonwealth and the 14 nations where she was head of state, and millions and millions and millions that would tune in every year. My wife and I, part of our Christmas morning tradition was to watch the Queen's address from Sandringham and to see her, Sandringham being her home in the north of England in Norfolk, and where she and her family would spend Christmas. And we'd open presents, and by 9:30 in the morning, BBC would put on the Christmas address, and we'd watch after they played "God Save the Queen" from the Household Cavalry Band, and watch her share the gospel, and not in a wimpy way or in a anesthetized manner, but this was a believer. This was a person who truly loved the Lord, and her life and her decisions and the integrity and dignity from which she reigned was rooted in that faith, as all of her family, Prince Charles, Prince William, now King Charles III, and the Prince of Wales, William, have all said her faith is what rooted her. Even Boris Johnson and Theresa May, as well as the brand new Prime Minister, Mrs. Truss, they all shared that this woman was deeply rooted, that it was the place that she lived her life from, was from her faith.
Just remembering hearing of stories of her relationship, even with, Billy Graham.
Yeah.
And I know it seemed to be probably a very unusual relationship, for many, because, he was here, this charismatic preacher. She's representing more the reserved.
It's a liturgical tradition.
Very
Absolutely.
much so. But I just loved that, and remembering reading that she would at times maybe have Billy Graham come and even be a part of their Easter Sunday. And just, she loved the Lord, is like what you said. And I was watching so many different things. I can't remember, but I remembered hearing someone in one of the many things I've watched over this weekend saying she found herself frequently on her knees, that,
every night.
It
was part of her.
Yes.
Yep.
It was a part of what she did. She needed to do it with the Lord, with God's help,
Yep.
And so I just love that. I love that in it. It showed in how she led her country, in the wisdom that she led. I mean, not perfect. Nobody's perfect. We're just seeing, oh my goodness, the deep admiration, the respect, the love that so many around the world. She symbolized character and integrity and love and mercy and grace, all of these beautiful components. To me, she really did show what it looks like to be someone who says, I follow the Lord.
Yes.
And I believe
yes.
I feel like she led her nation looking at people through his eyes, which is very rare for a national leader.
Yeah. I think that's very well said. I absolutely, it's well documented that her bedtime routine included time spent on her knees. Now, mind you, it is inappropriate or illegal for the sovereign of the UK to bow to anyone. And she made it a point to make sure that she took time every day in a world and in a life where everyone bowed to her, including her husband. At her coronation, he was the first one to come up and pledge himself and humble himself in front of her to say he would serve her. But she took time every day to humble herself. And I think that's important. And I have to imagine that it was a tremendous blessing and relief to finally take off her crown that she's worn for 7 decades and lay it at the feet of her Savior.
Wow. Ooh. That just gave me some goosebumps, Cheyne. That's beautiful. Yes. Oh my goodness. What a beautiful union or reunion that must have been,
Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely. What are some of the things that you would say stand out to you about the late Queen? Maybe 2 or 3 things that you just think of the Queen. These are some of the things that come to mind.
Well, my wife would absolutely shoot me if I did not say the corgis. A huge piece of the Queen's legacy is obviously her love and making famous those stubby little loafs of love, as she would call them. So it is. I would say the corgis. I would say her style as a person who got to work in fashion for a number of years. Anybody can buy fashion, but there has to be something inside of you that is able to communicate style. Now, that is a very famous corgi that we're showing right now. That's Susan. Susan was the corgi that founded the Queen's entire line. She had, I believe, well over 30 through the course of her year. And Susan, that dog right there, is the one that started it all. That's not her first corgi. The first corgi she received was from her father. That was Dookie. But that right there is Susan. She is the mother of the royal line of corgis.
Look at that.
And of course, the Queen had 2 when she passed, which we now know are going to be inherited by the Duchess of York and Princess Eugenie.
I did not know that. I was like, what will become of her 2 corgis? So
they are going to the Duchess of York and to Princess Eugenie.
Well, I'm sure they will miss their mama because she was the Queen of England. But when you're a dog owner, your mama.
They don't care. They don't care. They're not bowing.
That's right.
I wonder if that was also some sort of a sense of comfort for her. That there were a couple little 4-legged little friends who did not care about who she was.
Yes.
And that had to have been very relieving to have that kind of honest relationship.
Absolutely. We should all have dogs.
Yes, absolutely.
They're very loyal, but treat them well. If you are a
Yes.
pet owner, treat them well. No, that's so true. So yes, and her fashion, was thinking, oh my goodness, I wanted to wear something that was a nod to, the Queen, and the Burberry jacket that I have. Oh no, that thing went going on me today. It was like just tight and it didn't have any give. And I thought, okay, well, I'm going to wear some Ralph Lauren. I know that she had deemed him as a knight a few years.
She did knight him
back, even though he is an American designer. I know that you wear Burberry. Some of my favorite photos of you and your wife actually in England on some of your trips. And I don't know that you're wearing Burberry here in this picture, but I always love that you do bring out your Burberry and things like that.
We're huge fans of British fashion in that. We are wearing, Rachel's wearing Burberry. But what's fun about that is the night before, this was after church we were at service at Westminster Abbey, sitting in now the King's box. But the night before, we had been invited to a reception at Buckingham Palace, and it's called the Winter Reception. The Queen was not present. This was not an A-list event at Buckingham Palace. This was a D, E, or F list event, but still a privilege to have been able to be invited. And it was Gerard, the former crown jeweler, had created precious jewelry replicas for charity of some of the Queen's most famous pieces of jewelry. As we know, part of her style, it would be inseparable to separate her from the extraordinary collection of jewelry that she displayed, many of them gifts from foreign heads of state, and of course inherited pieces, as her dynasty has been around for over 1,000 years. And she, so Rachel, the earrings she's wearing in that picture are very famous earrings that were replicated by Gerard, the crown jeweler. They're 3 diamonds that drop down onto a saltwater pearl. And so she wore them to church the next day, and those are replicas of earrings the Queen would often wear. So that fun photo right there is us right after we left church. You can see a portion of Westminster Abbey in the backdrop, and of course the Parliamentary Palace and Big Ben there tucked on the end, as we're standing there in the courtyard of Westminster Abbey. So we are huge fans of British style. From their country things, Rachel and I are both big fans of Barber and Les Chameaux boots and all the way up into the things. My wife fashioned our entire wedding after Will and Kate, and even looked at having full-size trees brought into the church so that it would be like Will and Kate's. And of course, Cyndi, you were there.
Yes, and it was one of the most spectacular weddings in every sense of the way. The production, the love, it just was stunning. Everything about your wedding was so stunning.
Thank you. But when in encapsulating the Queen's style, she's worked with the same person, Dame Kelly, for about 50 years, and she has created the Queen's style. It is always brightly colored. That was done intentionally because she is a petite woman, especially as she continued to mature in age, and so the bright colors allowed the crowds to see her. And it also denoted an air of optimism and positivity. You typically saw coat or coat dresses with a matching hat. And one of my favorite things is her vast collection of color-coded umbrellas, because of course it's very rainy and gray in England much of the time. And the Queen had a specific company there in the UK that would put a colored band around the clear umbrellas. So again, she could be seen, that she could carry, so that if she was wearing bright yellow, she had a yellow banded umbrella. If it was pink, it would match. And we're not talking like in the same pink family. We're talking color for color. If she was wearing a fuchsia coat, she had a fuchsia umbrella. If it was, dusty rose, it was a dusty rose. I mean, I always thought that was a great attention to detail. And as I was saying before, anyone can buy fashion, but it takes a person of distinction to create style. And the Queen created a style that was very much her own and iconic. That is, you can take a look at an outfit with the little black bag tucked into the crook of her arm, and
Yes.
the gloves, and no, oh, that's Queen Elizabeth style. It was kind of beyond trends or fashion as we would understand it today. It was truly an enduring and a working style. I mean, that was a uniform for her that went everywhere she went, and I think I will miss her looks almost as much. And she's one of the few people that I think, as she aged, her looks softened and became warmer, because I look at how grand and formidable she looks in those photos from the early 80s and in the 70s, as a more middle-aged woman, and as she got into her 70s, 80s, and of course into her 90s, there was such a grandmotherly softness that I think came over her whole look, and I appreciated that right up into those last photos of her with the new prime minister, working until almost the day she passed. Was her commitment to duty, which of course reflected that speech she made when she was 21, that she declared for the whole of her life, whether it be long or short, that should be dedicated to serving her people and their great imperial family, and making that at 21 and making good on it. I mean, how many people really finish the race?
Yes.
And she's a lady who finished her race.
She absolutely did. And you literally took my ending statements out of my mouth, which is all good, I love that. No, absolutely. I couldn't agree with you more on all of those accounts, Cheyne. Now with King Charles, and we're going to wrap this up with him now. He has stepped in, become the new monarch. Now, what are your thoughts or your hopes? Maybe one thing that you would love to see him carry out as he's now carrying the torch and the legacy of his mom.
Absolutely. His mom, yes. Well, of course, in England, there is no separation between when the reigning monarch passes and the ascension of the new monarch. So the old way they used to do it is the moment the previous, in this case, queen had passed, it was the queen is dead, long live the king. So it is an immediate transition of authority and power. And the thing I hope that Charles will do, and I've seen even in his early speeches him carry on as a believer myself, my hope is that he keeps his faith at the forefront, that he continues the tradition set down by his mom to actively promote and share about his relationship with the Lord. I've seen several speeches by King Charles when he was the Prince of Wales about his deep frustration and pain about persecuted Christians around the world, and he spoke very boldly as a believer and as a Christian, and that gave me great hope to see that his faith is something he takes very seriously, and then I hope that he will continue to make a forefront of his reign. And God save the king.
And God save the king. Well said. Well said. Well, I'm in total agreement with you. And I believe that many watching would say the same. So thank you so much for coming and sharing.
Absolutely.
We had a fun little way we wanted to say goodbye.
I love it.
We love games at a new thing.
I love a game.
Games.
Yeah, love a game.
Yeah. So, okay. So it's called Do's and Don'ts, or Truths and Tales. So it's going to be a true or false kind of a thing. Okay. Number one would be Royals only eat shellfish or meat cooked rare due to food poisoning concerns. Truth or tale?
Okay. So I'm gonna check you on this one. They do not eat shellfish.
Okay.
Not at any place except at home. So it's true they only cook their meat rare because of the because the food poisoning. So that is a tale, but they don't eat shellfish at all except in their homes, because the likelihood of food poisoning is so significant that they don't engage in shellfish.
So, okay. So we're saying then that they only eat.
That's a tale.
That is a tale.
That is a tale.
Okay, here's another one. This is actually the first one. The Queen made it a rule that all members of the royal family must bring an all-black outfit when they travel in case of sudden death while away. Truth or tale?
So this is a truth that she learned the hard way. When her father passed, she was in Kenya and had to return very quickly and did not have a black mourning dress in her luggage. And so when she landed, a page and footman brought one on board, and she was able to change because, of course, the entire world's media was waiting outside that plane to see the first pictures of the new queen. And it would have been highly inappropriate for her to get off in some tropical day dress that she had been traveling in and not to be in mourning for the beloved king. And so since then, royal protocol dictates that no matter where they go, even if it's an overnight on a private vacation, that there is a black suit for gentlemen and a black dress for ladies in the luggage. That is a truth.
I love it. Okay, now we just have a couple of more minutes. So
hit me. I'm good. I'm good.
Okay, when the queen is done eating and she places her bag on the table, the meal is done. Truth or tale?
When the queen is done eating, the meal is done. When she places her fork down, the meal is done. And then when she stands up, all the plates are removed.
Woo! Look at that. That is truth right there. Okay, here's another one. Royals are not allowed to wear any nail polish, not even clear. Truth or tale?
That is a tale. That is a tale. The royal family wears the queen has worn a specific nail polish for years that has been adopted now by Princess Kate. It is by Essie, and it is called ballet slippers.
Yes!
It is a light pink that the queen has worn for easily 50 years, and upon joining the royal family, Princess Kate and I believe the Duchess of Sussex have both been spotted wearing ballet slippers by Essie since they did it. You got to come early for me, Miss Galley, because the force is strong with me. I am a Royals fan.
Yes, you are. I said, oh, dang, he even knows the nail polish color.
And the company, and it's available at your local market right now.
Yes, I almost wanted to change my white to like a nice little blush color, but didn't have the
Soak up the summer while you can, cousin. Soak up the summer while you can.
Soaking it up. Okay, last question, and then we'll wrap this up. When the royal men dress casual, it's with a blazer or a collared shirt with khakis only. And it looks like it says collared, but really that should say collar because they don't be eating no collard green. Truth or tale?
It used to be absolutely the case, but with the advent of the younger royals, the Prince of Wales and his wife, the Princess of Wales, William and Kate, they have been known to sport their dungarees. They will wear jeans, usually still with certainly with a button-up shirt. You're not going to see them in a t-shirt really ever.
Right.
Except if they're wearing the t-shirt of an organization, at the ribbon cutting because everyone is, or something like that. I remember at the Olympics, the Princess of Wales, Kate, was seen wearing a Team Britain t-shirt that the Olympians were wearing, but that was specifically activity driven. In their casual approach, no, you will see them in a collared shirt, but in very casual situations, the Prince and Princess of Wales have now been known to wear denim. But it's chic denim. Let's keep it real. It's very chic denim.
But of course. Well, this has been wonderful. And just again, thank you so much. You were the person that was highlighted to me. And now I know why.
Hey.
It's like, yes, I knew that you loved the Royals, but you got all the facts and all kinds of good little stories of your own. So, and again, you are the one that I turned to on my only trip actually to England was reaching out to you, and you just kind of let me know where I needed to go. I had some fun little, pictures.
Yes, there it is.
There it is. Just ecstatic as all. I mean, literally tears in my eyes. Now this picture on my own.
I selfie ready.
Right. And then, of course, with all the many people in front, but I had to go back again. And my roommate that I went with, she's like, oh, no, you can go. I'm like, oh, but I want to see the changing of the guards, so that was just spectacular. But truly, it is the end of an era. And I believe there is beautiful things to come still for the UK.
Yes.
And you said it exactly right. She ran her race well. There's something to be said about her stepping into that role that she did at the age of 25.
Yeah.
And seeing that even though she received it as a, like, oh, her uncle decided not to run, to be king.
An accident of birth. Yeah.
Right. And so he abdicated. But in my heart, it was like, no, she was the one called of God to lead her country, to be the queen of England. And she, like you said, she ran her race well. So
she ran her race.
Thank you so much.
Such a pleasure being with you. Thank you so much for having me.
Absolutely. Well, my love to your family and to the prince, to your prince, because you have a Prince Philip as well.
Yes, I do. Yes.
And you have a wonderful day. Thank you so much, everybody. Cheyne Jackson.
Thank you so much, Cyndi. Lovely to be with you.
Wonderful, wonderful. Well, I hope that you just enjoyed having, some of these fun stories and just hearing about the Queen of England from a true Royals Aficionado, Cheyne Jackson, and what fun and what stories and insight he brought to this particular tribute to the Queen. I was thinking about royalty in general. I was thinking, royalty, when did royalty begin? It goes back to the Old Testament. We read about the king, the Lord who was the king, but the children of Israel wanted a king that they could see, a king that they could actually physically go to. And so then is appointed and anointed King Saul. And from Saul to David and then Solomon, and makes its way down. But I wouldn't be who I am, where I am, and so many people in my life really is King Jesus. He is the King of Kings. Truly, he's the Prince of Peace. We're at a time where people are saying, I have anxiety. Anxiety is up, it's on the rise, and there's a lack of peace and all of these things. And it's like, if you would just call on the name of the Lord and say, I've heard of the King. I've heard of King Jesus. I've heard of the Lord, but yet I've never personally asked him to be the Lord of my life. Then I'm asking you to open your heart today to doing that. I just couldn't think of a more fitting time, even as Cheyne had shared. The Queen was so very in favor of sharing the gospel, the good news of Jesus. So I'm giving you the opportunity to say, you know what? I want to ask and invite that king, the king who Queen Elizabeth bowed down to on a regular basis because she needed the wisdom of God. And for his grace, she would bow to nobody, not even to her spouse, not even to Prince Philip. However, she would come before the Lord. She humbled herself. She knew that she could not lead her country and be who God has called her to be without doing that very thing. So I'm inviting you even now for you to say, Lord, I'm calling on you, and you can repeat after me. I don't know you. I've thought about you. I've heard about you, but I want to know you. So I'm asking you to become the Lord of my life. King Jesus, be the king in my heart. Be the Lord of my life. Be the one whose decisions, you're the decision maker. And then that I would follow in those things and that you would lead me. Be the Lord of my life. I surrender my heart, my fears, my addiction, all the stuff, all my past to you. And I thank you that you would fill me with your Holy Spirit. I make you the Lord of my life today. Be the Lord of my life. I welcome you into every part of my being, from the top of my head to the soles of my feet. King Jesus, I welcome you. I welcome you as the Lord of my life today in Jesus' name. And if you did pray that prayer, we want to hear from you. We are here for you. We believe in you. We pray for you. We pray for our viewers that watch the show. We are here for you. If you don't yet follow us on Facebook or anything, or you don't know how to reach out to us, let me put up our information. Email us. You can follow us at A New Thing Live. You can follow us on Facebook at A New Thing. If you're watching us on YouTube, do subscribe to our channel, or also email us if you have a prayer request at anewthing.live@gmail.com. And of course, you can always visit our website, A New Thing Live, A New Thing Live. I pray that you had a wonderful time. For me, it was a bit of an emotional episode to prepare for, but I want to thank you so much for joining us. Do subscribe to our channel. Do share our channel with people in your life. And this is called A New Thing truly because it's Isaiah 43, where God says, I will do a new thing. Behold, like, see it. I will do a new thing. He wants to do a new thing in your life. He wants to do, but we have to give him place to do it. And so, again, like I said in the beginning, and you might just be watching it now and you maybe didn't see the beginning. We don't know everything, but we're here to walk you through those steps to say you can do it. You can do it. So thank you so much for tuning in with us today. We do have some information for those of you that still want to continue to follow just the progress of what the rest of the week looks like with regards to Queen Elizabeth. Today, I know that the procession did take place from the Holyrood Place to St. Giles's Cathedral. And then tomorrow, Tuesday, her coffin will be flown from Edinburgh to London. I believe her daughter will be accompanying the coffin, as from what I remember hearing. Wednesday will be taken via carriage to Westminster, where that will be where she lies in state there for 4 days. And then Monday will be the state funeral at Westminster Abbey, and the coffin will make its way to Windsor Castle, where she'll be buried at King George the Sixth, I believe, Memorial Chapel at St. George's. So for those of you that want to continue to follow, please continue to pray for the royal family. As many of us, we go through life and we do lose those that we love. My dad, we lost him just a few months ago, and it's a painful time. It is a time of mourning and so many different emotions and things. And then, of course, the walking out of everything that happens after. Well, so quickly, everything has happened and transpired within just days of the late Queen's passing on Thursday. Now with already King George now becoming king, and so many things have happened. He's taken his oath and whatnot. But I want to thank you so much for joining us today. And I wanted to end, Cheyne had mentioned earlier, even the oath that she said and that she made. So we're going to end with that. But do have a blessed week. Remember to love those that are around you. I'm trying so hard to be present in the places where I'm at. So be present with those that you love. My sweet sister reminded me that even of this last few days, just the importance of being present. Do set your calendar and your alarm for next Monday. We do have another wonderful episode for you. And we're still trying to figure things out. It's like, when I had my other studio, we had the New Thing Live sign behind us, and it was very colorful, and we're still trying to figure out like what works best for this show. And so thank you guys so much. I've been on location, which was a lot of fun, for the end of summer series in Wisconsin, and with Pastor Yoli and Christy Mireles and at Michael Kors. I've just had these wonderful opportunities to do the shows on location, but we're still trying to figure things out and see what that looks like. But we do love you guys, and we are here for you. The Queen did run her race well, God save the king and long live the king. Have an incredible week, and we'll see you next Monday night on A New Thing Live. Thank you so much for watching, and a huge thank you to Cheyne Jackson for being tonight's very special guest on this episode of A New Thing Live.
I declare before you all that my whole life, whether it be long or short, shall be devoted to your service.
Madam, is your Majesty willing to take the oath?
I am willing.